Morning, everyone. All right, we're just going to make sure that we got stream coming here. Looks like it. All right. Good deal. How was everyone's week? Good, long, okay.
It's longer than usual.
And Richard and Linda are online already. Good to see you. Can't believe we're in Holy Week already. A little different from last year's Holy Week.
Birthday week.
Whatever.
Yeah. Scott's birthday's this week.
Whatever.
Hooray!
Yeah.
So how am I going to celebrate you getting over?
How am I going to celebrate? I'm going to do... Oh, I don't know. But I'm doing a memorial service for a member of my first congregation in Orlando, but it's up in part of Central Texas.
Well, that's a great way to mark your mortality.
Yeah.
And that means an anniversary is happening also.
What?
An anniversary?
Oh, yours?
No, not yours.
No, theirs is May.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Dad, my dad's is later in
I
April.
wasn't listening, dude. I'm sorry. As usual, I only heard out of this here.
Anything to share? Any things brought up from last week or any news?
I put myself on another diet.
Crawfish.
I was already on one, but I wasn't getting enough food.
What do you say?
Oh dear. Anyway,
That's a David joke.
yeah, that is kind of a David joke. Yeah.
So, David, tell him what went on yesterday.
Well, yeah, we'll I'll share in church too. But yeah,
Have some pictures. It was a great day yesterday.
it was. Okay. All right, well, let's start with prayer. Lord God, we praise and thank you for this day. We thank you for this Palm Sunday and the kickoff of Holy Week. And Lord, we just pray that you keep our focus on where it needs to be, and that is on Christ. Let us do that this morning in Bible class and worship and in everything that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. All right, we are in chapter 44. Here, and we have this other TV over there, and no one looks at it. So I have to look at your face. Yeah, there goes David and Ellen. Okay. Yeah, but see, when David sits that way, I get a nice sheen from the top of the oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, and they couldn't hear that online, and that's probably all right. Okay. Chapter 44. We're right smack in the middle of the story with Joseph and Egypt and his brothers and stuff, and they've all trekked down and for the second time, and they've eaten, and now they're getting ready to go back with this second group. But so chapter 44. And he commanded the steward of his house, that is, Joseph did, fill the men's sacks with food as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his sack, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, with his money from the grain. He did as Joseph told him. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away with their donkeys. They had gone only a short distance from the city. Now Joseph said to his steward, "Up, follow after the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, 'Why have you repaid evil for good? Is it not from this that my Lord drinks, and by this that he practices divination? You have done evil in doing this.' When he overtook them, he spoke to them these words. They said to him, 'Why does my Lord speak such words as these? Far be it from your servants to do such a thing. Behold, the money that we found in the mouths of our sacks we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. How then could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? Whichever of your servants is found with it shall die, and we also will be my Lord's servants.'" Again, why are you saying that? He said, "Let it be as you say. He who is found in it shall be my servant, and the rest of you shall be innocent." So at least he doesn't go as far as killing him, but I'll say the one that's found will be his servant. Then each man quickly lowered his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack, and he searched, beginning with the eldest and ending with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Da, da, da. They tore their clothes, and every man loaded his donkey, and they returned to the city. When Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house, he was still there. They fell before him to the ground. Joseph said to them, "What deed is this that you have done? Do you not know that a man like me can indeed practice divination?" That's the whole thing, too. And that was very common, that, he would be expected to be, the Lord's spokesman. And what exactly divination means in this context is uncertain. Judah said, "What shall we say to my Lord? What shall we speak? How can we clear ourselves? God has found out the guilt of your servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we and also in whose hand the cup has been found." He said, "Far be it from me that I should do so. Only the man in whose hand the cup was found shall be my servant. As for you, go in peace to your father." That won't be peaceful. Judah went up to him and said, "Oh, my lord, please, let your servant speak a word in my lord's ear, and let not your anger burn against your servant, for you are like Pharaoh himself." My lord asked his servant, saying, "Have you a father or a brother?" And we said to my lord, "We have a father, an old man, and a young brother, the child of his old age. The brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, 'Bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes on him.' We said to my lord, 'The boy cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die.' Then you said to your servants, 'Unless the youngest brother comes down to you, you shall not see my face again.' When we went back to your servant, my father, and we told him the words of my lord, and when our father said, 'Go again, buy us food,' we said, 'We cannot go. Our youngest brother brother goes with us, then we will go down. If we cannot see the man's face, unless our youngest brother is with us.' Then your servant, my father, said to us, 'You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One left me.' And I said, 'Surely he has been torn to pieces, and I have never seen him since. If you take this one also from me, and harm happens to him, you will bring down my gray hairs in evil to Sheol. Now, therefore, as soon as I come to your servant my father, the boy is not with us. Then, as his life is bound up with the boy's life, as soon as he sees that the boy is not with us, he will die. And your servants will bring down the gray hairs of your servant our father with sorrow to Sheol. For your servant became a pledge of safety for the boy to my father, saying, 'If I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame before my father all my life. So then, please, let your servant remain instead of the boy as a servant to my lord. Let the boy go back with his brothers. How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? For I fear to see the evil that would find my father.'" Okay. Anything? Yeah.
So they filled their sacks with grain and put the stuff in it. So I guess the brothers weren't around when they were doing this.
Yeah, I think it seemed like this in the first time too, that Joseph probably had servants to fill things up, get everything set, and
So wouldn't they be a little careful this time?
you would think after the first time that they would check things out and make sure that everything was hunky-dory, but that could be possibly an insult too. What are you saying, that the servants weren't good enough? I don't know.
And this extra stuff, did they just put it in Benjamin's sack?
Yep. It was just the cup in Benjamin's sack.
So they wouldn't notice the extra weight.
Yeah.
How about the divination part? I mean,
Yeah, so it would have been common, and some are saying that this is kind of like a tea leaves type of thing, that this cup could have been used for, whether or not Joseph used it that way and actually practiced divination, or it was just said, and because he would be expected to be a mouthpiece for God, because he said, God gives me, the things to say. Yeah, what form this divination might have taken is questionable. And especially because we know that he was the one that had sought the Lord's favor, and we know the Lord doesn't look kindly upon it. It's not against the law yet, because the law has not come yet. Moses and Leviticus and those types of things haven't been put out there. But it certainly, it's questionable on what is meant by divination. There are different interpretations.
I mean, he interpreted dreams pretty well. Could that be divination?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's divination on its base can mean reading the signs of physical for what is happening in the spiritual.
This commentary goes back to verse 5 when it says something about divination in the cup, and it says, at the time, hydromancy was a form of ancient Eastern divination used in vessels of water.
Yeah.
Objects would be put in. And
Yeah, it's kind of like a tea
it says,
reading, tea leaf.
in this guy's opinion anyway, Joseph receives his revelation from God alone, and this was part of the ruse to confuse the brothers, with verse 5 and then verse 15.
So that was one big narrative where I was starting to lose who was in what space.
Yeah.
There's a footnote that kind of helped me catch up, which really is going back to verse 16. He said, though innocent of the charges, Judah knew that before God he and his brothers were guilty. The threat of slavery reminded them of their sin of selling Joseph. Judah insisted that all would accept punishment, but Joseph refused, keeping the test focused on Benjamin.
Right, yeah. So remember, before they even took the stuff out of the sack, they're like, hey, look, if one of us actually has this, then kill that one, and the rest of us will be your servants. And Joseph comes back actually with a more merciful thing. No, whoever is found will be my servant, and everyone else can go free. That's a much more lenient aspect, actually. So they agree, and then you see again, Judah he stepped up, before they came back down for the food the second time. He was the one that Daddy listened to instead of Reuben. And you see from that point on, Judah is kind of the spokesman for the group. It's not Reuben anymore, it's not even Simeon anymore. It's
all these shenanigans with things in the mouth of sacks. Do you think we would have emptied everything out before we left?
Yeah. Well, that's what you were saying. Yeah, wouldn't you have checked that out a little bit more carefully?
Why is Benjamin loved more?
Rachel's son. Yeah.
That's the reason.
Because Rachel was loved more. Nothing else? How about just this aspect of, Judah kind of has laid bare, that he didn't expressly say that we had our brother killed, but he kind of says we're responsible for that. I mean, he's kind of owning up to some of these things before Joseph. So as a test, this is pretty good. Right? You want to see if they've changed, and not only have they owned up to it, but they're sticking up for Benjamin instead of letting him go. I mean, because if true to form, he probably would have expected that, well, they sacrificed me, why wouldn't they sacrifice Benjamin too? If they're good with leaving him here, then they haven't changed at all, and I know what their character is.
But Benjamin hadn't rubbed it in their face with his dream about the stars bowing down to him, and
Not that we know of,
well,
because he was young.
I don't think Jacob let him out of his sight after that.
But that dream happened when Benjamin was probably very young.
Yeah, but once Joseph was gone, Benjamin probably had a protective.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he probably didn't go out to shepherd like all the others did. But he is talked about being the shepherd later, Benjamin. Nothing else?
Here in the footnote, it says that, like Joseph, God often sees what is in our hearts. He reminds us to humbly acknowledge and take responsibility for our sin. When Judah mediates with his father and with Joseph, and shows himself wanting to be enslaved in place of his brother, he prefigures the saving work of his descendant Jesus, who gave himself to mediate ransom
On behalf
without
of someone
sacrifice.
else. Yep. Yeah, so there's a foreshadowing there. Y'all are talking a bunch.
Yeah.
All right. 45. Then Joseph could not control himself before all those who stood by him. He cried, "Make everyone go out from me." So no one stayed with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, so that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" His brothers couldn't answer him, for they were dismayed at his presence. It's probably dismayed in surprise and, oh, crud. He said to his brothers again, "Come near to me, please." They came near, and he said, "I am your brother, Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." That's one of the first times he said it. It's gonna say more than once. You meant this for evil, God meant it for good. For the famine has been in the land 2 years, and there are yet 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. That's a key line in the story. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Hurry and go up to my father and say to him, "Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near me, you and your children and your children's children, and your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. There I will provide for you, for there are yet 5 years of famine to come, so that you and your household and all that you have do not come to poverty. And now your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see, that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You must tell my father of all my honor in Egypt, and of all that you have seen. Hurry and bring my father down here." And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept on them, and that his brothers talked with him. When the report was, we'll pause there. Anything that strikes you?
The absolving them of guilt.
Yeah. I mean, the second time he says, "I am your brother Joseph, don't be dismayed. Don't be angry." I'd be a little ticked. You know? He's not rubbing it in their faces.
Go back to the verse that you were talking about up there. You know, verse 5, "For God sent me before to preserve life." You know, how often I wonder in our own circles of things, you know, doors open, doors closed, and we get so frustrated and we're mad and we're upset. It's not going the way we want it to go. But if we really trust, I mean,
and in a lot of cases, you can see it later. You can look back, but in some cases, you never will.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not guaranteed that.
Not this side of eternity.
Not this side of eternity, right? You know, when Romans says that all things will work for good of those who love Him. It may not feel good, may not look good, cannot be experienced by you good, but it is for good.
One different subject. They knew there was another 5 years of famine. You know, there's a thing called eating the seed. When things get really bad, you finally eat the seed because you got nothing else left. So somehow they had to meter out this food that not only for their own people, but the ones who are buying it.
Yeah.
And at the end,
True. Yeah, and we'll see it a little bit later. How bad things have gotten, but they never will eat the seed, but they will eat the animals.
And he just invited, from the Egyptian point of view, thousands of people and animals to come. We're in trouble here.
For the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And not just all people mouths to feed, all your flocks and herds and everything else too.
We're stacking.
I'm with Alan. I can put up a family for about 4 days.
Yeah, 5 years? That's stretching
I'm
it.
going to be going somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Was the land of Goshen right next to where Joseph was? I don't know. Maybe.
Where was Goshen? I want to say that it was eastern part of near the Nile, but
Wasn't that where Moses wandered in and took up with his wife? Just trying to get bearings and how far you got to walk from Egypt.
Moses went into Sinai, didn't he?
what about Sinai?
He went into the peninsula, I believe.
He did. Because you can't get to Israel without crossing in.
Right.
This computer is pretty slow. I wanted to say Goshen's like right around here, but that's right.
See what the Google machine says.
And so where was Joseph?
And down over here is where you have the ship stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But was the seat of government where Joseph was, where Alexandria is now, or do we know where?
Say again?
Was the seat of government where Joseph was at that time Alexandria, or where was that in Egypt?
I don't think it was Alexandria. I don't think Alexandria wasn't around yet.
Yeah. Well, the town of Alexandria would have been there because it was a port city.
Yeah, that's around here.
That's take the Nile straight up from the delta. It's right up on the coast. Yeah, right in that area. It does say that Goshen's right around Giza, right where you were at the mouth of the delta on the Nile. Yeah, right in that area, which is kind of modern day Cairo. I think the old Egyptian capital was at Luxor, which is much further back in the Nile, like halfway. Equal to the Red Sea.
Says that Goshen was just northwest of the edge of the Red Sea there, that area.
Northwest. All right, so
Move to the right. More. That area right there.
right, okay. There you go.
I wonder if the brothers were ever distressed or angry that they had sold their brother.
Well, they were definitely distressed right now.
I know now, but I mean, after that happened, then they thought they killed him.
Oh, you mean before now? After that?
I know they did, but they thought they did.
They sold him into slavery.
They sold him into slavery. And whether or not he was, lived through the slavery was been anyone's guess. But did they have any regret? I don't know.
Reuben did. He was mighty upset.
Yeah, but Reuben was more upset. What was Reuben's actual intent? Was it to actually free him completely, or was it just to make sure he wasn't going to be killed, or what? I don't know. Reuben may have had better motives than the others, but I don't know that his motives were good.
But on the other hand, he continued to cover up what they had done. He never told his dad the truth.
That's true. Yeah.
So
They never came clean.
he's part of the conspiracy.
What's also interesting to me is that even after Joseph had been elevated in the land of Egypt, and for a number of years, he still made no attempt to contact his family during that time, when he certainly would have had the resources to do so.
Yeah, he could have left that. It does make you wonder why not. But good riddance friends. Maybe, they don't want me, so why worry about them?
Maybe it was at God's direction to him. I've got big plans for you.
That could be. Yeah. Maybe he knew that God had other things planned, so don't worry about the past. Well, I find, and this will kind of come later after Pharaoh dies and stuff. This is a step. Bringing the family here, may save their life, but it also puts them in bondage for 400 years. That's hard to fathom. What the consequences are going to be on the flip side. But that too was a foreshadowing, and that was a foreshadowing of Jesus being called out of Egypt. Out of Egypt I called my son, and it was, as it happened to Israel, it happened to Israel reduced to one, who is Jesus. They were the foreshadowing of what is coming.
They could have gone back to their own land after the drought was over, but they didn't.
You would think. You'd think they'd be able to do that. It would be fascinating to know if they stuck around because they were comfortable, because when did the enslavement start? Was there any time between when Pharaoh was dead and the enslavement, when they had the freedom to have gone? And why didn't they?
It was cushy.
It probably was. It probably was a cushy area. They had Goshen was a good land. It was a good area. They were very wealthy. They outnumbered the Egyptians in a lot of cases. That's why they were so fearful of them and put them to hard labor.
Children were born there,
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
So, during the Exodus, they took Jacob's bones with them, but...
And Joseph. They took Joseph's together.
We could put it in perspective, 400 years.
I mean, that's.
Think of the U.S. of A. 400 years ago, and what all has happened in our country, and that seems forever ago to us. And we have so little history.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking that when America was founded, right? Or not America, but with the continent. 1492, right? Columbus is coming over, and that's a long time.
Had God already told them that their land, that was really Moses that came back and this is where I want to plant you. So
well, he did promise, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, this land I will give you. I mean, so there was right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, here you are already in opulence and plenty of food and plenty of grain for the animals. Who knows what's happening up there?
Right. For 400 years, you're like, okay, there's this promise way back here.
Yeah, somebody else
already occupied their land, right?
and so then you'll have to go fight. So why don't we just stay where we're at?
Yeah. Good question. All right, 16. When the report was heard in Pharaoh's house, Joseph's brothers have come. It pleased Pharaoh and his servants. Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this. Load your beasts, go back to the land of Canaan, take your father and your household, and come to me, and I will give you the best land in the land of Egypt, and you shall eat of the fat of the land. And you, Joseph, are commanded to say, do this, take wagons from the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Have no concern for your goods, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. The sons of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the command of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for their journey. To each and all of them he gave a change of clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 changes of clothes. To his father he sent as follows: 10 donkeys loaded with the good things of Egypt, 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, bread, provisions for his father on the journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they departed he said to them, do not quarrel on the way. So they went, and I'm going to stop there for a second, because I'm sitting there thinking, Why give them all of these things when you just got to turn around and bring them all back?
Yeah.
Hey, this stuff will be here waiting for you when you get here. I would think that would be just more logistically easy.
Well, I think it was way of convincing Jacob that.
Yeah, this is true.
For real.
Yeah, that's probably true. So they went up out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to their father Jacob. They said to him, Joseph is still alive. He is ruler over all the land of Egypt. His heart became numb. He did not believe them. Yeah, duh. But when they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said to them, and when he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. Israel said, It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die.
His soul revived.
When did Leah die? Was Leah still alive?
I don't remember if Leah had died yet. I think Leah might still be alive. I don't. Do we even know?
I wondered how far is it from Goshen to Canaan?
Or so yeah, so they were up here. They're coming down here. And let's see, what's the what the 30 miles. Okay, so yeah, about 200 miles, I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely take a while. Here to Dallas, well, it takes a while in traffic now with cars.
No, really quiet.
Yeah, Dave.
Well, it's kind of interesting to me the way Joseph talked to his brothers about this, that he was, quote, father to Pharaoh, leading you to believe Pharaoh pretty well ceded everything to him.
Yeah.
And so when Pharaoh says, oh yeah, do all this, well, it's all the stuff that Joseph had already said he was going to do. It was sort of like, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Pharaoh is kind of confirming what Joseph had already decided, and actually you see that later too, because Joseph kind of decides about where Goshen and stuff, and then he brings them to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's like, the land is free, where do you want to go? Tell him, Goshen. And it's like, when he asks you what you do, say this, and they go to Pharaoh, and he says this. So yeah, he's Pharaoh is in his pocket.
Well, yeah, what it does for me, it changes completely kind of how I view Pharaoh. Instead of this ruler of the known world, which he was, he's this doddering doofus that's,
Yeah. He seems to be happy to have someone take this responsibility so he doesn't have to deal with it. But the fact that he and Egypt and stuff were happy to have all of this influx to come down with 5 years left. I mean, that says how respected Joseph had become, not just a Pharaoh.
Yeah. You think the local populace would be saying, what's going on here?
Yeah. But they don't seem to. I mean, Joseph he seems to have acquitted himself so highly in their minds that they respect him for everything.
Just think what would happen if we had 5 years of famine.
7 years total, right?
Yeah, in the U.S. of A. With no rain and no crops.
It would not be pretty.
You kidding me? People lost their mind over toilet paper.
Yeah, lost their mind over toilet paper.
They would not last a year.
It would not be good. It would not be good.
Question.
Yeah.
Goshen, was that kind of like on the outskirts of the Egypt's territory?
Yeah, so we looked here, it was around here.
So in other words, he's sending his brothers to the outskirts where there won't be indirect and won't be an embarrassment to him.
Yeah, there is some of that of being on the outskirts, but part of that is because of the view of the Hebrews to the Egyptians. They were kind of anathema to them, right? It was kind of like those, those hillbillies type of thing, right? They're like, we're sophisticated, civilized society, and these Hebrews are not. And so having them at an arm's length in another, you're welcome to be in the land as long as the land is over there, not in my backyard.
Because it's an abomination to even eat with.
To even eat with them, right? Yeah. So you certainly don't want day-to-day contact. And in fact, we'll hear a bit later the fact that they are shepherds, that they tend livestock was also anathema to the Egyptians. I mean, that was just a demeaning, menial type of labor. They didn't want any part of it. So this was a very good symbiotic relationship type of thing, right? The Hebrews are going to be taking care of all the stuff the Egyptians don't want.
That stigma continued on because people who are shepherds, are usually just wandering from one piece of land to the other,
right?
Don't really own it, just using it, and watch any number of westerns. The free grazers need to be shot down, right? And run off because you're just coming onto my land.
You're just using my resources, and I get nothing from it.
I get your nomadic lifestyle. That's not what we're trying to build here.
Or we could use even the aspect of how do people view gypsies, right? Just the nomads, the wandering folks, not big title.
We went to a church service at Chuck Swindoll's church up in Frisco, and it was during the Christmas season, and he did a sermon on the shepherds. And he and his wife had gone to Israel, and were on a tour with a guide, and they went past some shepherds, and Wendell mentioned something about the shepherds, and the guy said, they're just Bedouins. And it was very
wow.
So I think
so it was a pejorative term, really.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. I mean, and then I juxtapose that with the way Christ talks about being a shepherd.
Right.
And,
and more importantly, us as sheep, which is not flattering.
But Swindoll said the shepherds are not revered.
Yeah, and they weren't then, and obviously that hasn't changed. And yet, who is it who gets the news about the birth of Jesus first? Right. They're all, the redneck chicks, or the whatever, not civilized. Please. Pride, yes, vanity and pride.
That's becoming more and more problematic for it. I was reading something about the ski resorts in Vail, Colorado. That is as pricey as that real estate is, in such beautiful area, and people building condos and multi-million-dollar homes. There is a huge, and Pat saying that reminded me of that article. There's such a huge need for the service community. We want to go to these restaurants and bars and hotels. Someone's got to make the meals, pour the drinks,
right,
make the beds, do all that. Where are those people living?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they may have to commute an hour.
Yeah, there's a number of cities that are like Irving, California, a very high-end area. One of our universities is out there. And fast food places, people are having to bus in and stuff from 45 minutes, hour away to be able to work for a wage that is minimum.
No one wants to see your low rent apartment housing in this beautiful community. So how far out can we push you to have you come in and clean our toilets?
Right. All right, 46. So Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to God for his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel in a vision in the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. He said, Here I am. He said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt. Now, why might he be afraid to go down? Well, they don't like it, but I'm thinking more of the practical side, because God said, this is the land I'm going to give you, settle here. It's that whole, if we go, that as Alan was saying, what's going to happen, with people are going to squat on the land, and it's going to be a lot harder to get back. Do not be afraid. For there I will make you into a great nation. I myself will go down with you to Egypt, and will also bring you up again, and Joseph's hand shall close your eyes. Now, what does that mean? You'll die there, but Joseph, you'll be with Joseph. So instead of going with gray hairs down to Sheol, you're going with gladness, with joy. Then Jacob sent out from Beersheba. The sons of Israel carried Jacob their father. Why'd they have to carry him? Well, he's old. He's 130 or so at this point, and he's got a bad hip, and who knows what else. They carry his father, their little ones, and their wives in the wagons that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They also took their livestock and their goods which they had gained in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt. Jacob and all his offspring with him, his sons' sons with him, his sons' daughters, all his offspring he brought with him into Egypt. These are the names. Get the names of his sons. Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, the sons of Reuben, Hanok, Palul, Hezron, Carmi, that's not calamari. The sons of Simon, Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah, Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. But Aaron's Onan died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar, Tola, Puva, Yob, and Shimron. These just roll right off the tongue. Sons of Zebulun, Sered, Elon, and Jaleel. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob and Paddan Aram, together with his daughter Dinah. Altogether, his sons and his daughters numbered 33. Sons of Gad, Ziphion, Haggai, Shuni, Ezbron, Eri, Aradi, and Arali. Sons of Asher, Imnah, Ishvi, Beriah, and Sarah with their sister, and their sons Beriah, Eber, and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah, his daughter, and these she bore to Jacob, 16 persons. Son of Rachab, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, the priest of On, bore to him. And they're the sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppin, and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob, 14 persons in all. The sons of Dan, Hushim. The sons of Naphtali, Jaziel, Guni, Zeber, and Shillem. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, and these she bore to Jacob, 7 persons in all. All the persons belonging to Jacob who came to Egypt, who were his own descendants, not including Jacob's sons' wives, were 66 persons in all. The sons of Joseph who were born to him in Egypt were 2. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 7.
Because when my father used to want to have a family meeting. It was announced, living room now, you know.
It'd have to be a pretty big living room.
So they get back and it's like, yeah, living room now, we're all going to Egypt.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you wonder how
70-something people.
70-something, and this doesn't include servants and their families and of course all life. I mean,
This is,
How many wives said, no, I don't think so?
well, if they wanted to eat, they probably had to say, okay.
It begs credulity to think that all of these names were passed down orally until Moses finally committed.
Could there have been some written record too? Yeah, that's certainly
In
likely.
Egypt, they probably documented some of this.
Egyptians were good at that too. But yeah, there's nothing to say that there wasn't any written history. But most of your history was still.
Well, there are some names from the Bible that people still use today.
Not a lot of these
There are
ones.
not many of these.
Thankfully.
I wonder if those of the Jewish descent still name a lot of kids these
No.
strange names.
I don't believe these are common names in any culture right now.
Well, Muppet and Huppin.
Muppin and Huppin, yeah, that is making a comeback right now, right? Especially if you have twins, that's what you name them.
They have a relative named Keturah or Keturah.
Yes, but that's probably, I would doubt that that's based on this. It's probably more based on an English version of Katerina.
It's the same spelling as in.
Is it really? Oh, okay. Well, you know, Oprah she was supposed to be named Orpah, but they, because there's a biblical name and then messed up in the birth certificate or somewhere there. You know, just because it's a name in the Bible, does not mean it's a blessed name. You know?
Don't get a lot of Jezebels.
Yeah, exactly. Jezebel or Cyrus, you know. Yeah. Or Rahab, yeah. All right, we'll finish up this chapter. Verse 28. All right. And he sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to show the way before him in Goshen, and they came into the land of Goshen. Joseph prepared his chariot and went up to meet Israel, his father, in Goshen. He presented himself to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face and know that you are still alive." Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I will go up and tell Pharaoh, and will say to him, my brothers and my father's household, who are in the land of Canaan, have come to me. And the men are shepherds, for they have been keepers of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. When Pharaoh calls you and says, 'What is your occupation?' you shall say, 'Your servants have been keepers of livestock from our youth, even until now, both we and our fathers, in order that you may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians.'" So he's preparing them. He's getting them. What's that?
The Egyptians eat meat?
Oh, sure they did. Yeah. But it's one thing to eat the meat that's before you, and another to raise it.
Their own people didn't keep.
Yeah, they did, but they weren't highly regarded. Yeah.
But, you know, you see this in India a lot. It's still the caste system, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The untouchables, you know, all the way up to the higher caste.
Yeah. So he's prepping them for what to say, even. Yeah.
But I think it's a great example of, fine, there's a stereotype, and let's keep in mind, there's always a root basis for stereotypes.
There's some semblance in Cedar
There's
Truth.
some semblance, right?
Yeah.
So instead of being offended, embrace it and use it.
Own
to
it.
your advantage.
Own it and use it. Yeah, exactly.
Which is exactly what he's doing.
Because they are going to clean up
Well,
with
yeah, I mean,
this.
he's playing Pharaoh.
Yeah, because they're going to take care of not just their flocks, they're going to start taking care of Pharaoh's flocks. And Pharaoh's going to have a lot of them. And because people are going to sell theirs to Pharaoh for food.
Say that again.
The people are going to sell their livestock to Pharaoh in exchange for food. And who's going to raise those livestock? The Jews. It's actually not called Jews yet. They weren't part of Jews until after the exile, but the Hebrews.
just thinking of what we've all gone through with COVID. And
It's exactly the same.
yeah, I mean,
What?
no, I'm thinking of so many that have not seen any family members for over a year, and those who were not there when their family members died. But the joy of seeing your father and hugging and
Yeah, because at this point it had been many years.
yes, and I'm just thinking what a blessing that had to be for his father and Joseph.
And his dad's going to live several decades more after this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the hugs and the joy and the crying just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
A lot of neck weeping going on.
A lot of neck weeping. Yeah. Get yourself some heavy material around here, or else you're going to get soaked. Yeah. I think we'll stop there. 47.
Just a question or two here.
Yeah.
Back in verse 27, it says that the number Jacob came to Egypt was 7.
Wait, what verse?
27.
Yes. Okay. No, it's that all the persons in the house of Jacob.
Understanding the Septuagint.
The
says
Septuagint.
75. And in Acts 7:14, it means up the number 75.
The Septuagint says that?
That's what it says there. Septuagint has 5 grandsons of Manasseh and Ephraim at verse 20, bringing it to 75. And then and a reading by Stephen in Acts 7:14 brings up the name 75. It says we just don't know.
Maybe they weren't, those 5 weren't born yet at this time.
Hold on.
Seven 14 says Joseph was summoned. Joseph sent and summoned Jacob his father and all his kindred, 75 persons in all.
Hold on. Yeah, it does. It's Septuagint. It says all the souls of the house of Jacob who entered into Egypt were 75. I'm not going back and reading all those names to count them right now.
My footnote says a bull and a cow represented the Egyptian god Apis and the goddess Hathor, respectively, which might make those who cared for sheep or lesser creatures religiously and culturally offensive.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I'm curious about that Septuagint thing. I'll look more into that next week. But,
I'm going to go back to the basis of what David was saying. You know, there's always some grain of truth.
yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever been around a goat or sheep for very long and smelled them.
Yeah.
Those who take care of them are going to take on that smell as well. It's going to be pretty easy to know why you don't want to hang with these folks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, better than chicken.
I don't know, Miss Mary's not here to defend herself, but she loves her chicken.
Well, she's welcome to love them from afar. All right, well, let's go ahead and we'll end with the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you his peace. Amen. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful week. And we will see you, hopefully, we got Good Friday service this Friday, 7 p.m. It is a much darker, difficult service, so just putting that out there, but hope to see you then. And then next week for Easter. Thanks, and God bless.